So I've been growing my marketing agency for 3.5 years now, and I've made mistakes that cost me over $1 million, okay? And there are things that I know right now that had I known back then, like 3+ years ago, would have changed a lot of things, okay? A lot more money, a lot less time wasted, a lot less energy wasted on the wrong people and the wrong decisions. And so this video that you're watching is that list, okay? Not the surface level stuff, like I am unleashing the beast per se, okay? We are sharing the sauce and stirring it, because in total in this video, I'm probably covering over $2 million worth of mistakes, right? In opportunity cost and also in real cost, like probably over $200,000, $300,000 of things that I actually lost, not just speculation. And I'll also share exactly what I would do differently if I could go back to avoid making all those mistakes and make a hell lot more money. So first lesson, for $80,000, don't spend more than your recurring revenue unless you have insane retention or you're a madman. And what I mean by this, and the reason I'm laughing, is because this is how one of my first agencies got completely shut down actually, and we ran out of money. How do you run out of money with an agency is a question only I can answer, I think. Because here's exactly what happened. If you collect $60,000 worth of paid in fulls for 3 months in 1 month, right? Well, in reality, you only have $20,000 of recurring revenue over those 3 months. So if your expenses are $30,000 a month, you're not making 50% profit margins. In reality, you are losing $10,000 every single month unless you sign more and more and more clients again, month after month. What happened for us is that we signed a bunch of clients month 1, we signed less clients month 2, and we signed almost no clients month 3, metaphorically speaking, because our advertising randomly just blew up, probably because the competitors started copying us or whatever. And with our team expenses and software and ad spend, which was really high because we had no idea what we were doing back then, we started losing money. And then we just simply ran out of money, and that was the end of that company. And in total, that cost me $80,000. But $80,000 is not a lot of money compared to lesson number 2, which is over $120,000. And the reason I know this cost me $120,000 is that come the end of the year, Andromeda happens. And if you don't know about Andromeda, this new algorithm update for Facebook that changed a lot of how the platform worked. And we did not learn about this until November. And for context, the update happened in August. And we were scrambling around, losing clients left, right, and center, unable to onboard new clients because conviction was low, morale was low, clients weren't happy. We kept making promises we couldn't keep because things weren't working. And we ended up losing $120,000 worth of recurring revenue and people we had to refund because we have integrity and we're not going to steal people's money, because we didn't have the proper guidance of other agency owners that could have told us what the solutions were. We just tried to figure it out on our own, and that did not work. So moral of the story, if you don't want to lose $120,000 or more, you should always have somebody in your corner ready to give you advice when shit hits the fan. Which kind of leads me into the third one, which is simply just reinvest aggressively, because if you don't, you're gonna be left behind. And I can't really associate a number with this, but it's definitely in the millions, and that's mostly opportunity cost, to be fair, but that's because over the years, I was never taking aggressive action. Now, if you don't know, what does aggressive action mean? I have another YouTube video on this, maybe editor put thumbnail on screen or something. But when you have a problem, you can't afford to wait 72 hours to solve it. You can't afford to wait 2 weeks to solve it. It needs to be solved tonight. And so you have to ask yourself the question, who do I have to hire? Or what do I have to do? Or what needs to be true in order for this problem to be solved as quickly as humanly physically possible? And if I had done that from the very beginning and I wasn't messing around doing some action taking but nothing really like aggressive, I'd be much further along today. And I know this because once I invested into Cameron England's program, which shout out to Cameron, and I started taking aggressive action following his footsteps, we started hitting record months. We recovered from losing half our clients to hitting record months that we didn't even think were possible this year. But that's only possible because of number 4, which is trust your gut, fire people faster, okay? And that one is a whopping $40,000 of money that I've lost on hires, not including opportunity costs, which is definitely a lot more. Last year, for example, I thought I needed a CSM, which I totally didn't. After I signed up for Cameron's program, we figured out that it was just very inefficient the way I had it set up. Now we do bi-weekly meetings with clients for 20 minutes at a time. So much more efficient. But anyways, I spent the better part of like 3 or 4, even 5 months trying to hire for a CSM and then also trying to hire for a marketing strategist. And I hired these people that I thought were good initially. Even at the beginning of this year, I hired some people that I thought were going to be good. And within about 72 hours, I was like, they're not really going as fast as I would like, but they're going to learn our ways. And I didn't have like a great gut feeling, but I was like, if I cut it too quickly, it's going to cost us a lot more maybe. And I didn't trust my gut. I ended up firing them after like a month and a half maybe, or even some of them for over 2 or 3 months. I kept them around. Not good. Lost a ton of profit that we could have reinvested. And the reason that I actually hired those people and it didn't work out is because of number 5, okay? And I know all of these go into the next one. I kind of did this by accident. But this one actually cost me probably over $1 million in opportunity cost and is part of the reason why I lost that 40K. You should always SOP and systemize and automate before you hire somebody, okay? I made the mistake of thinking I would hire somebody who's been there, done that could self-manage and create their own SOPs. Unless you hire a partner and you give them equity, okay, nobody gives a flying fuck about your business. Especially if you don't have a personal brand or you're not somebody famous that people want to work with and want to crush it because it would improve their own career. So I spent the better part of a year and a half, think about that, a year and a half, learning from each person I hired that didn't work out, trying to make the next hire better, only to not make progress and in fact go down in revenue during that period because none of these people worked out. And to be fair, part of that reason is probably because we weren't paying what the real person that would have come in and crushed it wanted, right? That person might have been a $20,000 hire per month when we were trying to hire people for 5-6K per month. And the funny thing is, once I actually started writing better SOPs and better training before hiring people instead of trying the lazy way of hiring somebody to build their own department, I realized that it required a lot less skill than I thought, and I was able to hire people for much less that did a better job than the people I had hired for much more, which increased our profit margins even more. Now, number 6 is build your nest egg and then spend everything else. So this one's going to contradict what a lot of people say, which is, hey, reinvest every dollar that you make. But in reality, until you feel like money is this like magical thing, then you don't have enough money set aside. Because right now, if I had these new ad campaigns I had to launch and I needed data by tomorrow, I could totally put $2,000 a day on those ads just to let it rip overnight to see what happens. Because I don't really see it as like money. Like I didn't physically work a job to get those dollars, and I have enough money saved up to where even if I lost $2,000, I wouldn't really give a shit. So something I wish I had done earlier is build some sort of a nest egg to feel more security in trying bigger schemes and bigger things that could have potentially gotten me a much bigger outsized return. For example, if we had a nest egg back in the days where we had our first agency fail, by the way, that was the dog training niche. Don't go in that niche. Shout out if you're in the dog training niche. You know what I'm talking about. We could have probably continued to test ads, but because we were so over leveraged, we couldn't afford to like spend that much more. So we were stuck just losing money and looking at the bank accounts dry out. But something that could have saved us at that point is actually number 7, which is that your offer is everything and you should not forget. Which the last part is the most important because that cost us over $50,000 this year. And that's real dollars, because that's how much I had to invest in a different coaching program to realize that Cameron England's coaching program actually already had that, because I thought I was special and I had these special issues. But lesson learned, I actually just forgot how to make good offers and how marketing worked because I had been so caught up in other parts of the business, it just stopped coming to me naturally. And so if I had just written down like, okay, here's how you make good offers, blah, 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 and I had been more aware of it, that, hey, like your offer is absolutely everything, then I wouldn't even have had to go through this coaching program, which was a big waste of fucking money. Because once we did figure all of this stuff out, we actually spent $20,000 and made over $60,000 the very next month, which brings me to 8, which cost me over $200,000. This is again in kind of opportunity. When something works, please throw everything at it, okay? And the reason I say this with so much passion is because I've had so many times in my businesses where things were just printing money. And then I was like, oh guys, we're gonna slow it down. We're gonna hire people and systemize things. Now, when we have something that works, we pour every dollar into it. For example, last month or 2 months ago, we had something that worked really well and we poured $20,000, basically as much money as we could until it stopped kind of working. And now we lowered the budgets and we're coming up with some new stuff. But had we just sat on that idea and we dragged it on over multiple months, we would have probably never been able to milk it for as much as we did because competitors would have caught on, the seasons would have changed. So there's a bunch of different factors that I don't know. But the reason it cost me so much is because last year we had another killer offer that we spent even more money on and it just kept working. Even if we kept making the same ads, just said differently, it just worked every time. But then I stopped running those ads because I was trying to hire for a CSM to self-manage or a marketing strategist to self-manage instead of just taking a weekend or two to make all the SOPs, understand the whole thing, and then delegate it to a VA. So that cost me a lot of money, which is also kind of what made me realize, like number 9, that sales and marketing is the business. Everything else is secondary, okay? If I had known this before, I would have made a lot more money. I don't even know how much. Because here's the thing. Once you have ads or an acquisition channel that is working, you need to milk that as much as possible, which means that service delivery and everything else, okay, is pretty much secondary in the sense that you should never stop front end to, fix your back end really. What you should do is find ways to delegate as much as possible on the back end, not fix it yourself, and continue selling. Because once you build autonomy in your team and you're no longer the one who just fixes everything, your team actually knows when to step up and they take more ownership when they do step up. And you'd be surprised to know that when I actually started doing this and saying to my team, hey, I trust you with this, I need you to figure this problem out, problems started getting figured out. And I didn't have to use as much of my own time to go figure out those problems. So again, I'm not saying burn the boats with your clients. If they are actually struggling, maybe don't increase your front end, right? Stabilize it, maybe, decrease it a little bit or neglect it slightly just to give yourself enough bandwidth to do this, or, cancel an entire day of sales calls just to get on the right meetings, to talk to the right people in your team to fix everything, or work, 15 hours for an entire week. But sales and marketing is the thing that makes your business a business. You can never stop. Now, number 10, money is a resource, not the goal. And obviously you know this, but all I'm trying to say is I wish I had taken this more seriously earlier because I would have made way better decisions and I would have been a lot less emotionally impacted by money. Because now the way I see it is when we have money in the bank account, it's like energy that is being stored. And I can use this energy to hire people or, delegate certain things, or I can let this energy stack up even more to do things that are bigger and require more of that, money energy per se. It's kind of like bottled time, right? Where you stack up a lot of time and then you can use that time to buy even more time back with coaching or other thing, right? And I basically saw money as the goal initially. I saw it as make as much money as possible. But to make as much money as possible, you need to have a detachment with your money. You cannot see your money as being the thing that buys you food. When I go to the grocery store, I just tap my card. I don't even think about it. It's just a resource to me. It's I'm just exchanging this against this. It doesn't really feel tangible. It doesn't feel like I'm losing something. And it kind of gets back to mindset of having an abundance mindset, basically. But that's it. That's 3.5 years condensed into 10 lessons. So if you watched this far and you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Otherwise, I will get it into your walls and haunt your house. So you really don't want that. Every single one of these cost me tens of thousands of dollars to figure out. And if you're earlier in your journey than I am, or even if you're not, you should probably take these seriously. And if you want more content like this, or you want me to go in depth into any one of these, just put a comment down below. And in fact, if you like puppies, you should put a comment down below as well. I'm trying to provide more value, guys. Come on, you can help a homie out. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one.